Blackburn Rovers bring it back to Ewood Park as they look for 4 wins on the spin. But in their way is red-hot Hull City. Who's going to come out on top? We'll talk about it next. That's right, folks, back once again with another match preview, this time looking forward to a Blackburn Rovers match up against Hull City in the Championship, and we'll get to that in just 1 second. If you're new to the channel, smash your subscribe button, get me bang up to date with all things Blackburn Rovers related, Championship related, whoa, football related, we're going to all here under one roof. Now let's get into the thick of things and take a look at the match in a bit more detail. It does take place this weekend, which is the 26th of January at Ewood Park, and Hull City are still managed, believe it or not, by Nigel Atkins. Oh my goodness, did they start the season in horrendous style. And last time out, or last season should I say, Hull City finished 18th in the Championship. The key man for me, and probably the key man for everybody in regards to Hull, will be Jarrod Bowen. He's red hot at the moment, just like Hull. I think he's instrumental in their rise up the table. Now, the last time that these two sides met at Ewood Park was in the FA Cup, which we lost 1-0, and that was back last January 2018 in the third round of the FA Cup. Over the years, the two sides though have played 62 times in all competitions. We won 30 of them, we've drawn 17, and we've lost 50. Now, if you want to take a look at the last time that these two sides met at Ewood Park in the league, we also lost that one. We lost 2-0, and that was back in February 2016. Was that our relegation season? I don't think so. I think it was 2017. But anyway, let's take a look at my expecting lineup for Blackburn Rovers. Raya between the sticks, Bell, Lenihan, Rodwell, and Nyambe. As you can see, no Mulgrew. So, you know, I just can't figure out where I can stick them in there. Evans, Travis, Dack, Armstrong, Reed, and Graham. I'll just blitz through that. So really, I think it's just the one change, and that is Bennett also dropped as well. I think it's got to be cruel to be kind. I think the captain's armband will probably go around the arm of Danny Graham for this one. Obviously, he's been there, done that. Or perhaps Lenihan, maybe. Might be a bit of a first captain's armband appearance for Lenihan. But yeah, Mulgrew and Bennett are, in my point of view, are out. Just because I think Rodwell and Lenihan have been solid. Mulgrew, obviously, we need him in there somewhere. Someone did suggest left back. I don't think he's got the pace for left back. Maybe we go 3 at the back. I don't know. It's a tough one to call. But if we're going to stick with the normal formation, I just can't see it. Maybe he could play alongside Travis in the centre of midfield. I don't know. It's one of those conundrums. Where the heck do you stick him? But anywho, let's take a look at the statistics for Rovers. Still top of the pops by a country mile is Bradley Dack with 13 goals. Danny Graham now has 10. Mulgrew has 8. Armstrong chumping at his heels, though, with 7 goals. He's on fire at the moment. As for the discipline, Lenihan has 7 yards. Bennett has 6. Evans has 6. Smallwood has 6. And the red cards, 2 guys with red cards. Smallwood and Derek Williams. Now, the last 5 results for Rovers looks like this. Obviously, coming to this in pretty good shape, actually. It started off 2019 in tremendous style. We've not lost in the league so far. We've only lost 1 game. I'll talk about that in a second. In the last time out of these, the last match for Rovers was the 2-0 win at Ewood against bottom of club Ipswich. That was a big one, that one. Obviously, Ipswich turned the corner slightly. But it was one of those banana skins that could have easily tripped us up. Before that, we did lose to Newcastle United in the FA Cup replay after extra time. But to be honest with you, I think it's a blessing in disguise. If we could just focus on the Championship, we never know where we may have. If people still got competitions going on and you know, midweek, like two games during the week. You know, it does pile up, and just the Newcastle game was a bit of a congestion. Anyway, before that, we'd be at Millwall down at their place, 12th of January, all the way back on the 5th of January. We drew with Newcastle 1-1, and then all the way back the 1st of January. I was there, folks. Rovers against West Brom, end up 2-1 win at Ewood. Now, the next 5 fixtures for Rovers looks like this. Obviously, we're talking about it right now. It is the Hull City game on the 26th of January. After that, it's a tasty one. Down at Griffin Park, we take on Brentford on 2nd of Feb. After that, we take on Bristol City, Casey Palmer and Co. Back at Ewood, 9th of February. Then we take on Reading at the Majeski, 13th of February. And then we take on Middlesbrough back at Ewood on the 17th of February. So, winnable games, yes, but also banana skins along the way. So we'll have to see. How about Hull? How are they going to line up this weekend? Marshall between Stick, Kingsley, Regis, Burke, Kane, Grosinski, Stuart Henriksen. There he is. Jarrod Bowen, best player on the pitch, possibly, of Andro and Chris Martin up How about the top goal scorers? Obviously, Bowen leading the line with 14 goals this season. Hopefully, Dak can maybe just get a couple of goals this weekend to get his name in the old top 10. Campbell's there with 9 goals. Irvin's got 5, who's on international duty with Australia. And Krasinski has 4. As for the discipline, Eriksson has 7 yellows. Campbell's got 6. Irvin's got 4. Divish has also 4. And Ivandro is the only man in the books with a red card. Now, the last 5 fixtures for Hull have looked like this. They are red hot and they are on fire. They took on Aston Villa last time out 2-2. So it's a big result at Villa Park. That was on the 19th of January. Before that, they took on Sheffield Wednesday, 12th of January at the KCOM and they won 3-0. Before that, they did lose to Millwall in the FA Cup on the 6th of January at the Den. They beat Bolton at the KCOM 6-0. That was on New Year's Day. And then all the way back on the 29th of January, they did beat Leeds United 2-0 at Ellen Road. How crazy is that? So the next 5 fixtures for Hull look like this. Obviously, Rovers next. Then they take on Stoke City, 2nd of Feb at the KCOM. Then they take on Derby County at Pride Park on the 9th of Feb. They also take on Rotherham on the 12th of February back at the KCOM. And then wrap it up again against Millwall, 16th of February at the KCOM. What else is going on this weekend in the Championship? Well, it's actually a little bit of a hodgepodge because the FA Cup does involve some Championship sides. So probably only 6 games taking part this weekend. A couple of games taking place midweek. Obviously, the standout is Rovers versus Hull. But Norwich take on Sheffield United. That looks a bit fruity. Villa against bottom club Ipswich Town. So that's Paul Lambert going back to Villa Park. Stoke against Preston. Nottingham Forest with Martin O'Neill and co. Up against them scoundrels, Wigan. And Leeds will take on Rotherham. Now, what does the table look like currently? Well, Leeds are flying high. Well, just the 1 point ahead of Norwich in second. West Brom, Sheffield United and Middlesbrough with Derby County currently occupy the playoffs. As for the bottom of the table, Ipswich, Bolton and Reading are in the relegation zone. So it's doom and gloom for those 3 of them. As for Rovers and Hull, well, we are all on 40 points. Hull above us on goal difference with an 8th spot with 40 points. We are, Swansea City is sandwiched in between us. We're in 10th. We have a -4 goal difference. Thank you, Bristol City. Thank you, Wigan. And thank you, Preston, for sticking a few goals behind us. Anyway, take a look at the stats now. Who's the current top goal scorer? Tammy Abraham's running away with 17 goals. Billy Sharp is in second, alongside Neil Mape and Timu Pukki with 16 goals apiece. Che Adams is in a list of a whole host of players, including Jared Bowen, Dwight Gale and Jay Rodriguez from West Brom, Kemar Roof and Lewis Graben, all with 14 goals. Now, how about the key assist makers? Well, it is Pablo Hernandez has got 10 assists. Jagowitz from Birmingham has 9. Conor Hoonahane has 7, alongside Joe Lolly, Matt Phillips and Saeed Barama. Now you've heard a little bit what I've had to say about the match. Now what you really want to hear is what the opposition fans have to say. And I'm joined live via Skype by Bobbi Hadgraft, who is a diehard Hull City supporter. Now, for my small corner of a YouTube audience, if you don't mind telling them a little bit about yourself and why on earth do you support Hull City?
Well, I've been brought up in the Hull area. I've lived here all my life. I'm just an 18-year-old sixth form student and I've just developed a passion for the club.
Alrighty then, so this weekend we tried to do something a little different as what I've previously asked visitors, and that is a kind of little mid-season summary of Hull City and their performances this season. So I'm going to throw a few categories at you, and then you just give me your opinion on what you think is the answer, is the correct answer. Anyway, we'll kick it off. Who do you think was or has been, obviously, a lot of people are going to go with Jared Bowen on this one, but do you agree? Who has been your best player so far this season?
By far, Jared Bowen. I mean, he scored 14 goals in 28 fixtures, and that includes 3 braces in the last 6 games.
Now, we all can't be as good as Jared Bowen or Bradley Dack, but who has been your worst player this season for Hull City?
Well, in summer, we brought in Chris Martin on loan from Derby, and I had high expectations for him, but he just hasn't cut it for me. Not been very prolific.
Now, we all have them. They're in there somewhere in the academy, perhaps, or maybe even scraping through the first team. Who is your most promising prospect coming through for Hull City at the KCOM Stadium?
Daniel Batty has been a brilliant servant for us this season, especially earlier on, but now Kevin Stewart's come into the mix. He hasn't had the chance in recent games, but yeah, he's a brilliant prospect to look out for. I
haven't done my extensive research on Hull City, but I'm not too sure how active you were in the transfer market. But who has been, if any, who's been your best signing so far for Hull City?
Well, we brought him back from West Ham, and he's only a youngster. And I was a bit sceptical at first, but now he's consolidated this partnership with our other signing, Jordi Device, at the back. And our defence has been absolutely impeccable these last few games.
Now, we have a couple as well. You know, this category is also a little bit of a Debbie Downer. But who's been your worst signing so far for Hull City this season? We've got, Ben Brereton's on the fence at the moment. Spent a lot of money on him. Yet to see the result. But he would probably be ours. But who would be yours?
Well, again, it's a bit harsh, but I'm going to have to go back to Chris Martin here and just say he just hasn't lived up to my expectations.
Now, how about if you were going to go down a dark alley somewhere and you don't want to come across a mean machine kind of player, who would the player that we should avoid from Hull City? Who's the one likely to break our legs?
I'd again say Campbell. He's always picking fights with other players. He hasn't got red carded yet this season, but you're always a bit wary when he starts on other players.
Now, okay, we've talked about best players, worst players so far. Who is the most overrated? Who gets a lot of plaudits that maybe they shouldn't do?
Again, I've got to say Chris Martin. I mean, just because of his reputation from Derby. Otherwise, I wouldn't say any of our players usually don't really get the credit they deserve.
So he's only there on loan, though. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. How about on the flip side of that spectrum? How about who does a lot of work, does a lot of the stuff behind the scenes that we don't really get the full scope of it? Who is the most underrated player this season for Hull City?
Well, I'd say two players this season. Marcus Henriksen, he had a shaky start, but in the recent games, he's been such a key player that he just doesn't. No one really speaks about him. So I'd definitely say Henriksen and Kevin Stewart, because he got so much criticism because it was a transfer when we sold Robertson to Liverpool, so he kind of came with high expectations. He hasn't really done much in previous seasons, but this year he's been a key player for me.
Now, how about let's go through the archives of Hull City. The grand scheme of things. Who has been your best ever player in your eyes at Hull City?
Well, if on a personal level, it would have to be Abel Hernandez, but that's simply because he was like the first player to give me his match-worn shirt. But in my lifetime, probably Dean Windass.
Dean Windass, oh my goodness.
Famous, the girl in the playoff final.
Oh, wow. Crazy. Yeah, he was definitely a character. It was Stevie Wotsa.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Now, obviously, Hull City doing pretty well now. Things have turned a corner and you're on the way up. But elsewhere in the Championship, if there is another player you could steal from another club, whether it is Leeds United or whether it's Ipswich Town, who would you steal and why?
It'd have to be Harry Wilson. We had him on loan last season. And I'm so jealous that Derby got their hands on him. He's had 10 goals in 22 fixtures for Derby. He had 7 in 13 for Hull. And, I miss him. He's an excellent talent. Okay, now let's get to the nitty-gritty now. Where do you ultimately think Hull City will finish in the Championship this season? Well, in a realism view, I'm going to say about where we are now, so about 8th. But I'm not ruling out playoffs, especially because we're making ambitious signings. We signed Mark Pugh today from Bournemouth, Yep. And if we continue to add make additions to the squad throughout the rest of January, I don't see why we couldn't push for playoffs. Okay, so you're not ruling out playoffs, but you're content with where you are right now. Now, only know much about Rovers, but is there a team that you hate in the division the most? Is it Leeds? It is Leeds, yes. Best away day was beating them this season. It put a smile on my face. And of course, let's wrap it up with why we're here. Blackburn Rovers, Hull City. The money question here. What's the final score going to be? Well, I'm going to say 3-1 to City. Although with Jordi Device is out with a calf injury, so and that was evidently made us weaker in the second half at Villa Park on Saturday. So it could be an interesting game. Okay, I'll say that. Awesome. Well, 3-1. You're confident, and you should be. Well, thank you very much, Bobbi, for joining us today on Skype. And hopefully we can hear a little bit more about you a little bit later on, maybe your post-match thoughts. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Perfect. Well, until then, I'll let you get out of here. Now, over the years, a number of players have played for both Blackburn Rovers and Hull City. Here are just 3 of them. How about this fella? Hope Akpan, that's right. When did he play for? It must have been prior to his days at Blackburn, but obviously he did rock the blue and white shirt. Not the most
not the most popular of players, but he had his moments. Moving on to this guy, obviously we had him at a very young age, and he was kind of playing out of position and didn't really get as much game time as I was hoping he was getting. But Josh King, obviously, hat trick against Swansea City, probably his highlight. He's now rocking the blue. He's rocking the Premier League shirt of Bournemouth, but he did also play for Hull City's Tigers. And how about this guy, Justin Bieber, aka Tom Cairney? Obviously, we picked him up from Hull in his youth. And he did rock the blue and white halves, and he rocked it quite nicely. Decent player, good free kick taker. Now captain's armband around his arm, and he is in the Prem with Fulham. Now, if you want to check out a full list of a number of players who have played for both Blackburn Rovers and Hull City, head over to my WordPress site, detailed to that puppy in the description below. Now, but what I've had to say about the match, now what you really want to hear is what Cass the Cat's got up her sleeve, what she predicted for the outcome of the Hull City Blackburn Rovers game at Ewood Park. That's pretty much all I've got for you today, folks. If you've enjoyed the video, please give it a good old thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, smash your subscribe button and keep you bang up to date with all things Blackburn Rovers related, Championship related, football related. We've got it all here under one roof. Also, check out the description. Links to my other social media platforms are in there. Twitter, Facebook, it's all in there. Also, what else we got going on? Lots of stuff going on the channel. Make sure you keep on checking it out. New videos popping up every day. This one's a big one. This one's a big one. Obviously, Hull are red hot. They probably, I should have had the form tables up here, but they are, if not the form team, but they are one of the top 2 or 3 form sides in the Championship. And they, yeah, if you turn the clock back to, what was it, October, maybe November, they looked doomed. They were doomed for relegation. But they've turned it around and gone on a massive, amazing run. And they now sit in striking distance, just like us, of the playoffs. So a win for us, either side this weekend, could make that pipe dream of playoffs back on the cards, because obviously, you know, we had a fantastic start to the season for our own merit, being in the thick of things, but it kind of got panned out over Christmas. We got battered a few times, and we conceded sloppy goals, and we kind of faded out a little bit, but we kind of brought ourselves back into contention over the past couple of weeks. So hopefully, if we can get one here, then maybe, just maybe, we continue on into the month of February and get some more wins under our belt. Anyway, until I see you again, which will be in this, guys, the instant match review, shortly after the final results on Saturday. Until then, thumbs up, subscribe. Ciao for now. Thanks again for watching. Please like, share, and most importantly, hit the subscribe button to keep you bang up to date with all things Blackburn Rovers related, Championship related, football related. We've got it all covered right under one roof. And while I still have you, please be sure to check out some of the old videos scattered along here. I hope.